Here's a top 5 most overrated UFC fighter list. We just got done making our top 5 most underrated list, so be sure to check out that video. But here's our top 5 most overrated UFC fighter list. These are fighters who get more hype than their actual resume, skills, or recent performances justify. So if you enjoy this video, be sure to like, comment who your top 5 most overrated fighters are, and subscribe for more content like this. Now let's get into it. Starting at number 5 on the UFC most overrated fighter list, we have Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland is 3-5 in his last 8 UFC fights. Kevin Holland is exciting and active, but he struggles whenever he faces strong wrestlers or well-rounded top contenders. He's beaten fun names like Santiago Ponzinibbio, but when matched with elite competition like Khamzat Chimaev or even someone like Marvin Vettori, he was completely outclassed. His skill set makes him dangerous to mid-tier fighters, but not a legitimate top 10 threat. He somehow gets on every single pay-per-view card and gets the most out of media attention, but yet he is 3-5 in his last 8 fights. At number 4 on the most overrated fighter list, we have Bo Nickal. Bo Nickal is 4-1 in the UFC, but against low-level opposition. Bo Nickal is an NCAA wrestling standout with enormous potential, but the hype around him being a future champion is far ahead of his actual UFC resume. He has yet to convince people that he can actually be a future champion. His best win was against Paul Craig. However, in that performance, he didn't convince anyone that he has the skills to become a champion. His striking remains untested at the highest level and only consists of overhand rights and left hooks. He is built from grappling, but yet he doesn't use it in the UFC octagon. Until he beats a top 15 fighter, his status remains someone who has good wrestling, but they're just on the UFC roster. At number 3 on the most overrated list, we have Brian Ortega. Brian Ortega is 2-5 in his last 7 fights, with his only wins being against Yair Rodriguez in 2024 and the Korean Zombie in 2020. Ortega is dangerous on the ground, but his striking hasn't evolved to consistently compete with the division's elite. Both Max Holloway and Alexander Volkanovski completely outclassed him, and even Yair Rodriguez was beating him before Ortega injured his shoulder. Despite this, Ortega remains ranked highly, largely on name value rather than recent accomplishments. I believe Brian Ortega is a top 15 fighter, and he's not in the top 10. Coming in at number 2 on the overrated UFC fighter list, we have Colby Covington. Colby Covington is 2-4 in his last 6 fights. Covington's relentless pace and cardio is elite, but his resume is thin. His biggest wins are against aging fighters like Tyron Woodley, which was in 2020, and Jorge Masvidal, which was in 2022. Against championship-level opponents like Kamaru Usman and Leon Edwards, he comes up short. Despite multiple title shots, his lack of victories over top-ranked active contenders makes his status as a perennial title challenger questionable. He's always gotten the hype of being an elite fighter, mostly because of his antics, but yet has really proven he is anything more than just a gatekeeper for the top 15. And finally, coming in at number 1, the most overrated UFC fighter today, Ciryl Gane. Ciryl Gane has a professional record of 13 wins, 2 losses, but overall 0-2 in undisputed UFC title fights. Ciryl Gane is an elite striker with exceptional movement for heavyweight, but his grappling liabilities have been exposed at the highest level. Francis Ngannou, a striker by trade, controlled him with wrestling, and John Jones submitted him in under 3 minutes. While he dominates lower tier heavyweights, his inability to handle elite grapplers prevents him from justifying the future champion label often attached to him. People say he's an elite fighter and it's just a matter of time before he is a champion, but when you look at his performances and who he has beaten, the only reason why he is in the spot he is in is because of the lack of depth in his division. Having a split decision win against Alexander Volkov, where many people think he lost, does not justify you getting a third title shot at the heavyweight belt. Besides Alexander Volkov, the majority of Ciryl Gane's wins come from fat, slow heavyweights that have no striking, no movement, and no grappling. People call Ciryl Gane the future, yet he chooses to duck every serious contender that wants to fight him, like Sergey Pavlovich, Curtis Blades, and even Jailton Almeida. So with that being said, Ciryl Gane is the #1 most overrated UFC fighter today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to like, comment your top 5 most overrated UFC fighters, and subscribe for more content like this. See you in the next video.